Hi, this is Mark from Show Me Construction, and today I'm going to put in a plug right here. My daughter wants to hang a TV on her wall right here, a small TV, and so she needs a plug. So we have a plug right here on the other side of this wall, and I'm just going to put a plug right here. So it's just going to be a little jumper from that plug to this new plug so she can plug in her TV. We have a GFI plug right here. So on the other side of this wall, I'm going to put a plug right about here, and I'm going to jump her off of this GFI end onto that plug. Okay, so I know there's no studs in here, so I'm going to go ahead and put the plug about the middle of the wall right here. And I'm going to mark around this cut-in box, and I'll explain this box here. This box has little wings on it, so when I stick it in the wall and I start to tighten it down, these flaps are going to go up and they're going to pull against the back of the drywall, and they're going to secure this box where there's no wood around it. It's called an old work box, or it's called a cut-in box. We always call them blue cut-in boxes. So you cut them in, you put them in. But I'm going to cut this hole out, and I'm going to take the plug and take it out of the box there and pull it out so I can get my wire through there and wire everything up. So we'll cut these through. And this is just a small keyhole saw for drywall. And of course we got a stud right here. So we're going to have to get through that stud, which is okay. Now there's a 2x4 right there, which this plug then was on the other side of it. But that's no worry. I'll still be able to get it through there. I'm just going to drill a hole through there, and we'll retrieve that wire. This cover plate off, and I'm going to pull this box out. Okay, there's the plug coming out. Now I can go ahead and I can actually loosen this box up. And pull it out. I loosen those screws up, and I'll show you how they look. See here are those little wings that held that box in. So I got my wire coming up from the bottom, so now I can just drill a hole through there, and I don't have to worry about. Now see, if the box was mounted to a stud, it would be difficult to do this, but in this case it was the same kind of a box that I'm going to put in, so I was able to just pull this out, and I'll put it back in the same way. I would have done this, I've done this so many times that I would have done this without turning off the power. The power is still on, or you can see the green light, but for the sake of showing people how to do it in a safe way, for someone who's not skilled about it, it's better to turn the power off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this circuit finder, and this is a transmitter, and I plug the transmitter into here, into the receptacle, and this red light comes on. And I'm going to go to the panel now, and with this receiver I can find the circuit that this is on. I'll shut it off, so then there'll be no power to this. And really, it's the right way to do it. I've done many of these with the power on, and I would have done this with the power on, but for the sake of showing the viewers, I'm going to turn the power off because, again, that's the safest way to do it. So I hit this once to clear it out, and then you just go up and down. You hear it beep a number of times, and it'll eventually find the circuit, and you can see it right there. There's the circuit. So now it's off. So we'll go up there, and now the light is off, the transmitter. So there's no power to this plug. So now I'm going to take and drill a hole through this stud right here. I'm going to drill a hole through it so I can get a wire through there. I'm not quite through it. Look and see. Now I'm through it. I got through the hole. And this is a number 12 wire that plug is wired on. And so it is important to use the same size wire in the circuit. I know there are times that some people can get really critical about mixing the wire up, and you should. There is a reason for it. You want to use the same wire in the run. If this would have been a 14 amp number 14 wire, then I could have used 14, which is easier to wire in this situation, but this is a number 12, so that's what I'm going to go back with. That's on a 20 amp circuit. If this would have been a 15 amp circuit with number 12, then I could have gone 14 wire. It wouldn't have been a problem. But because I'm on a 20 amp breaker, I needed to use number 12 wire. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this one first on the outside here. I'm going to run this in the box here. I got my wire in here. And I'm going to put this in the hole. And tighten and screw in those. See how that pulled and tightened up? There it is. Now that's it. Now I can take and wire wire the plug in. Okay. Cut these just a little bit shorter. They don't need to be that long. And put a little loop in this one because of wiring it onto the box. Under the plug. This plug has just a screw, so I have to put a hook in the wire. And of course, this is a ground wire, or ground screw, so it's green. That means the bare copper wire attaches to that. The neutral is always on the same side as the ground. And so these are straight because of this plug. They just shove in there on the straight side, and I'll tighten them up. Okay, there's the neutral. And then here's the hot wire on the other side. And it's the gold screw. You can see the difference in the screws, and then these are the silver. Okay, now one thing I'm going to do, you see this little cutout here where you have these tabs there to support it against the drywall, but it would hold it out away from the being flush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little ears off, and they just bend back and forth and pull right off. You can see that little notch right there. So it'll break right on that notch. You just fold it back and forth. And that's it. And then this little tab here will fit right in here. That's why they do that. And then when you fold this, you want to make sure that this ground wire, you just don't shove it in, because we don't want the ground wire to mess around and get on this side. So we want to fold it so the ground wire stays on the opposite side of the hot wire. And then we'll shove it in the wall and I'll screw it down. And see, that's flush now. So I'll put my cover plate on. There we go. That plug is ready to go. Now I'll tie it into the other circuit. Okay, now see on this wire, being able to pull this box out has really made it nice, because it's going to be easier to wire this in, because this was a cut-in box. So I'm going to stick this one inside here. And if it ever comes down to it, on another video, if I happen to do a wire where the box is fixed in the wall, I'll show you how we do that. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Now, I can put this back in the wall, shove those things back so they'll recatch the edge of the drywall. Let me get my screw gun, put that back in there. You can see it pull in as soon as it catches it, and you know you got it. There, and now it's back in the wall, just like it was. So now I can wire it into my box. Now on a GFI, any wire that you put, if I wanted to run all my plugs from here and have them GFI protected, I would run them on this bottom side right here. But I don't need this plug out here to be GFI protected. So I'm just going to run those right in here beside these. And then that would mean this is still protected GFI, but this one out here won't be, but it doesn't need to be. Now there are some states that they're requiring every plug in the house be GFI protected, California being one of them. But there you go. That's California. So we're going to disconnect the ground on that one so I can tie my grounds together. Because you still have to tie your grounds together. Because I want my plug in here to be grounded. There's a difference between a plug being grounded and a plug being GFI protected. I'm twisting the grounds together. And then you want to take, and what I normally do is I'll bend this and push this back in there. And I generally give my grounds a little bit longer to be able to do that, to get that back in the box. Oh, to keep it out of the way, because I tied them both together. And then I can leave this straight. I don't have to put a hook in it because of the way this is designed. So I'm going to cut these wires about the same length as this one. I'll strip them. Okay, now see, now I can just shove this ground wire in there. In where the ground screw is. Remember, the copper goes, the bare copper goes in, or the ground goes in where the ground screw is, the green ground screw. And we'll tighten that up. And again, because I'm not going to put them in here, this plug is not going to be GFI protected, and I'll show you that. If I would put it in here, when I would trip this breaker, that plug will go off too. Well, I don't want that plug to go off. So I'm going to tie that into this top circuit. So this will not, it'll be grounded, but it will not be GFI protected. And I'll show you that when I'm done here. So I'll put that one in here. Okay, and again the same thing applies. I want to keep my ground on the side where the ground is attached. So I'll push these wires down and then fold them up. So I'll still shove it in I'm going to shove it in the box. I have to shove it in the box, but I want to try to just make sure that that ground stays on the left side and doesn't cross over to the hot side, if I can help it. And see, this one was already done where the ears were broken off, little tabs. So now I'm going to put those screws back in. Circuit, and it's a 20 amp circuit, and we labeled it GFI Master now, and so that's back on. So that's why we had to use the number 12 wire. You can see that the light's on here, meaning that everything is right. So now, if I trip the breaker here, which I'll put on test, this light stayed on because I hooked it. Those wires are tied in together. This little light is still on. So, but this one now, this one's off because I tripped the breaker. Now I'll reset it. It's back on. And that's if you want to run another circuit off of this, a couple more plugs, you got to put them to the same wire. You got to put them on the same location on the GFI. If you want them to be GFI protected, you take that piece of tape off and you put them to the other wires. And they would have shut off when I hit the test button. Anyway, that's how I put another plug in. So anyway, if this has been informative and you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more of them, please hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. I like to read your comments on it. And thanks for watching.